everyone. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. It's my face again. I have DamDam with me in the studio.
Hello
Hi,
guys.
DamDam.
Hi, Merry
I'm so
Christmas.
excited because this is the first time I have someone on set with me, and it's exciting for me. I'm just happy. Hi, you DamDam. How are
I'm
you?
okay. I'm good. It feels really good to be back on YouTube again.
Yay! DamDam has a YouTube channel, and definitely I'm going to link it down below for all of you who are planning Japan to Philippines. Yeah, is it Philippines?
Yeah.
There's just so much information packed on her channel. I would definitely link her channel down below. But really, guys, I know you want to know who she is and where I got her from. How did she appear on this channel? So just tell us a little bit about yourself, DamDam. How you doing?
Okay.
Was January till now? What has it been for you? What's it been like, rather, for you?
Okay. Hello guys. I'm Damaris, but you can call me DamDam. So I just actually finished studies in the Philippines and moved back. So I would say January to December has been quite overwhelming, but I've been able to get through it
Yeah.
by basically giving my time a lot to healing. Because for me, it was like I was running away. I just felt, oh, I can do this, I'll be fine, and just move on without actually taking time to find out why this happened. Am I really over it? So actually feel my pain.
Yeah.
So it's safe to say this year I was able to do that. And just like I always say, healing is not linear. Today I feel good, tomorrow I feel worse. So
Happens.
it's been a roller coaster of
Yeah,
emotions.
I understand.
Honestly.
And I think a lot of girls watching us can also relate how some days you just feel fine. I think we had discussing about that either this week or last week, how you just feel fine some days. And then some days it's like the whole world is on your shoulders and you start to feel depressed and sad and
You
all.
don't even want to step out of bed.
Yeah, happens to me. I usually tell my husband that I feel like crawling into a dark hole. When that whole thing just comes upon me, it just feels like I should just crawl into a dark hole and just be there by myself and isolate. But I also know that we also spoke a bit about how when girls are going through stuff, they like to isolate themselves. What's your take on that?
Well, personally, for me, I isolate a lot because certain people in my space can be a trigger. So I would rather just be on my own.
Yeah.
And that actually made me understand that I'm not healing properly.
Yeah.
I need to face these things I see as trigger to be able to tell how much I can handle it. Because me isolating, I don't meet people, so I can't even tell if I can deal with a particular trigger or not.
Yeah.
So it's easy for you to think, oh, you've healed because you haven't come in contact with people.
Yeah, because you're on your own.
Exactly.
I think I learned that during my pregnancy that isolation does nothing
It
for
does
you.
not.
You need people. We are such social beings. We need a community of people around us to make sense of life in a way.
Yeah. And you isolating always just really means that you need so much help. Because if you don't want to interact with people, you don't want people to get to know what you're feeling, that's you running away.
That's true. I totally agree with you. And in a way, you've introduced the topic for today. You know, when you spoke about how sometimes you feel like staying away from certain people. And that's what today's topic is about. Why spending Christmas with family can be a trigger. Some of us have experienced that stuff where it's holiday and everybody is happy. There are lots of Christmas gatherings. There's just so much to do.
You get to be with family.
You get to be with family. Like Christmas is such a family time, if you ask me. But I also understand that there are healing girls who really don't care about Christmas. Yeah, they don't care about Christmas because it's a trigger for them to go and be with their family. So what do you think? What do you think? Is this something you've experienced?
To be honest, yes. For me, like I've spent Christmas away from home. I think almost 6 Christmases, and it's safe to say that I felt at peace being away for some time. Because you don't get to deal with that particular thing you have not healed from. Because we have a lot of unresolved conflicts and we're not ready to face it. So I feel safer spending Christmas away. And that's a very sad thing. It only points me as a very sad person. Because who wouldn't want to be around family?
Honestly, like there was a time I was like, oh God, like you know how you just sit down and you start to pity yourself, like oh God, I pity you, like you're supposed to be out there having fun. Because mine has not happened in a while because now I'm married and I have my own family and I'm starting to introduce traditions to my own family that I want to see in my life. But before marriage, I come from a very big family. And so then we'll have this get together during the Christmas period. And I'll often tell my parents that I don't want to go. I just didn't like to go for those gatherings. Just being around family was a trigger for me. And I think we'll just talk about some of the reasons why it was trigger. As you said, unresolved conflicts. When you have a family where there's just a lot going on and nobody is understanding the other person's point of view, that can make you to just avoid home during the Christmas period.
And people would think you're being overly sensitive, but I've always felt like family can be a trigger. When you say this, people will tell you, why are you saying that your family is supposed to be your
number
sister?
one?
But at the same time, maybe you came from a perfect family, but I didn't. So it's safe to say, honestly, family is a trigger.
Family can be a huge trigger. And you spoke about being overly sensitive. When I was little, I remember a lot of times, my dad would tell me, oh, you're being overly sensitive, because I'll be like, I don't want to go for this family gathering during this Christmas period because they'll compare me. And, people have a lot of expectations of you, and you're not meeting those expectations because you're going through your own hard time. January to that December, you've gone through so much. People don't understand that.
And family is supposed to be a safe space, but sometimes
it's not. It's not. It's not.
I'm sorry, but
it's not. And we're going to be dissecting it today. Like, if you are in that situation where you're saying that this Christmas you just want to stay away from family, we are here today to validate your feelings. That it is okay that you're feeling the way you were feeling.
You're not weird.
You're not weird. And truly, she said something very profound. I like, if you came from a perfect family, that's awesome. But some of us came from very dysfunctional backgrounds. Some of us came from very hard childhoods. Like I always say, I went through major childhood trauma. I was sexually abused as a child. And that gave me a different experience from many people that I've met who just had this loving, calm, childhood. But that's fine. I'm healing.
Exactly.
I'm doing
there's
better.
nothing wrong with that.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. So we're just going to discuss some of the reasons why people don't like to go home. And you already said one, unresolved conflicts. When there are past disagreements and, that has not been addressed and they're just resurfacing during the holiday period, it can just be really crazy. I'm sorry, you just see me keep stretching. I'm trying to access my script. I'll be very real. So unresolved conflicts is, a major problem when you've had issues with family members during the year, and now parents are expecting that you come home for Christmas and you put a smile on your face and pretend like nothing happened.
Exactly.
It's not easy.
It's not easy. And the fact that sometimes they don't want to get your own point of view, I feel like parents need to understand that there are certain things they need to unlearn.
True.
They need to, I don't know, but parents always make it look like they're perfect and they know it all.
Yeah.
But sometimes you can actually put your child through something without you knowing.
Yeah, because
even the Bible says
it,
don't provoke your children to anger. There are certain things your child may know. The world is advancing. You can't have every knowledge. No man is an island.
Yeah, true. Because I've seen lots of situations with friends, even individually, where even as in personally rather, where your parents are forcing their own opinions on you.
Exactly.
And I understand that it's from a good place. I understand that it's from love. But sometimes it can also be from their own unresolved trauma. It can be them trying to live life through you.
Yeah.
Through you, not for you. Through you. Like, okay, I didn't achieve these things as a young person, but so my child can achieve it for me. Exactly. Sorry, you're saying something.
Very true.
Yeah.
And I feel like parents just feel they know best, but they forget that you as a child, you're going to school, times are advancing, new things are coming up, you're improving yourself.
True.
So you have better knowledge about this, but they choose to stick to their own belief. And for me, you can't actually make progress if you don't want to unlearn something.
True. Very true. And this can just be one of the reasons why some people will avoid home this Christmas, because they don't want their parents wahala. So number 2, which is closely related, expectation versus reality. So you might not want to go home because everybody is expecting that by now you would have made something for you would have made a name for yourself, or you would have been in a better place. So maybe you started January, you didn't have a job, and it's December and you still don't have a job. Oh Lord. My heart goes out to you guys. My heart goes out to any four-healing girl who cannot go home for Christmas because of a lot of, conflict and a lot of issues going on. And it's not your fault if you were supposed to, if they were expecting that by now you would have
made tremendous progress.
It's not your fault. It's not your fault. That can just be one reason why somebody would just decide to stay away. Because they're expecting that by now you should have done something with your life.
And here you probably feel like a failure. Exactly.
So it can happen. High expectations and then comparisons. Like they're comparing you to your cousins, your sisters,
your family friends,
brothers, your family friends. And parents do that. And for Healing Girls channel, I always say it's not just for young ladies, it's actually for every woman. I say from 0 to 100. And from any child, from a child that can understand what I'm saying. Let's just let me be real here. From like maybe a 17 or 16-year-old to a woman that is 100. So if you're a parent and you're watching this, please, mommy, you just take a step back and think about the expectations you have on your children. And if you're actually comparing them, I need you to think about that and stop. It's toxic.
It's very toxic. I know, like growing up, I used to get a lot of
comparisons.
And some days I just sit down and I tell myself, why am I not good enough? Why am I not like this person? But I had to unlearn that. I would always tell myself, you're doing so well for yourself. Well. You're doing so good. Everybody's path is different.
Meanwhile, guys, DamDam came out with a first class. If you know anything about the educational system in Philippines, then you will know what that is. That's a huge thing. And congratulations, DamDam. You've really done well for yourself. I also compare myself to people, I'll be very honest. It's something that I have had to unlearn. And this year I've seen tremendous growth. I have not done that as I normally will. And that was because that was the inner voice I had.
Yeah.
My parents, I told you I came from a very large family. And so my parents often tell me I was a weird child. And nobody knew that I was weird because I was going through trauma. I was going through something. I was a very weird child. I didn't like to make my hair. So normally I'll constantly be on low cut. And my aunties would be like, Lola has come again. Why is she on low cut? Why is she dressed that way? Why do you like big earrings? Why do you... And I had to just look for my own style. And when I talk about style and self-care on this channel, I don't refer to just earrings and nails. I'm also talking about my inner being. I had to look for what works for me, but they didn't like that. I was not conforming. You understand? Everybody used to be like, why can't you be like this person?
Like at what age?
This was from as early as 6.
So basically, your inner child did not feel safe
at all. This happened from 6 till I was well into, teenagehood. I was approaching being a young adult. This happened and, I just always felt so down. So I would not even want to be around those people because I felt I didn't measure up to the standards that my parents and my aunts and my uncles and my cousins were trying to set for me. I was living life at my own pace, and I felt that was fine. I didn't have any points.
That was actually fine, because it takes a lot for you to be different, especially when everybody is going a different direction. It takes a lot for you to decide to be on your own. And I feel like that was what they couldn't handle. The fact that you were daring to actually stand your ground and know what you want at a very early age. I don't want to make my hair. It's not compulsory. That's what I want.
It's fine. And funny enough, I didn't want to make my hair. It was not from a reason of like I'm trying to be different. My scalp, I have a very soft scalp. It always pains me, and you know how we can really plait that hair and really hold it, and the scalp pain is painful and all. So that was why I did to barb my hair, and that was one of the reasons that informed me actually going on sister locks, because now my scalp is not bothered. They just crochet the locks itself, and the scalp is.
But
not
nobody
really
even had the time to ask you, why don't you want to make your hair?
So that comparison can make you not want to go home for Christmas. You wouldn't go home.
I wouldn't go home.
So let's see what number 3 is. Number 3 is past trauma and painful memories. What do you think? How does that play out in someone not wanting to go home?
There are times whereby I smell a perfume that is like my dad's own, and I'm
God.
triggered.
Guys, perfume trigger is real.
It's real.
I want to cry, but I'm not going to cry because, oh my God, it's real.
It's real. Certain things are triggers. Even the kind of car my dad had growing up, it triggers me when I see just a picture of the car online. I just have that fear in me.
Yeah.
Because part of me got so used to it that, okay, this is how you're going to live your life. I'm honestly glad I didn't school in Nigeria, because my mental health was so bad, but I did not understand. I thought it was a me problem. So going abroad and seeing how people cared about mental health, I was so glad that finally I had a place to belong, where I can even feel safe,
where you can talk about these things and nobody
will
look and tell you that you're a Christian. Christians
and you
don't
are
get depressed. They tell us that. I've heard that so many times. Like,
and they'll tell you,
don't get depressed.
It's demonic, it's this. No, you can't.
It's an attack. Village people are after you.
No.
See, guys, you spoke about perfume trigger, and I've never said this out loud. You know, and that's what this channel is about. It's about coming here to talk about things that we might not be comfortable talking about in the real world. One of the guys that abused me, yes, I say one of the guys because I was abused by more than one person as a child. The abuse started when I was 4 years old. Sexual abuse started when I was 4 years old. And one of the guys that abused me will always give me Milkos. You remember the milk? Do you remember Milkos sweets? So for years, I'll see Milkos and my tummy would just start to churn. You know, I would just start to feel really funny. And then there was this smell. I'm not going to, it's PG, so I'm not going to, start to talk about it here, but there was this smell. And now, when I smelled that, I attributed to, oh my God, it took me a lot of, what will I say now? It took me a lot to just get to a point where now I see Milkos and I'm not triggered. I smell that smell and I'm not triggered. It took me a lot. I always tell people that I am a practicing Christian. I believe in the power of God. And God knew what He wanted me to do. He knew the things He wanted me to achieve, the destiny that has been ordained for me. And so from the age of, 12, I started to have like therapy sessions one-on-one with my Bible, and I was hearing from God. I know it sounds crazy. I think lots of the stories sounds crazy and people don't believe, but it's real. It's real. It's real. So you might not want to go home because that home itself reminds you of the abuse, the trauma, and the painful memories that have happened within the house itself.
There are times whereby I'm on a call with my sister and I hear my dad's voice in the background. I'll literally tell her, I'll call you back. She might think I had something to do, but it's bringing so much memories. It's bringing so many things he said to me while I was growing up that still cannot leave my head. So I just don't want to be in that headspace. But at the same time, I realized that if I want to get past this, I need to face it head on. I don't have to keep running, because if you do not face it, honestly, you won't heal properly.
So I know that some of you might not want to go home because of this point, that home reminds you of the things, the wrongdoings that have been done to you, and that's fine. I told you we're just here to validate your feelings today. It's fine if you feel that way and you feel
you're not alone.
I think all those points are connected, because number 4 is judgment and criticism. You know, when family members will tell you, oh, why are you on dreads? I've had people look up to me like, why are you on dreads? Dreads give up this vibe. You know, I think that's the word now. Dreads gives up this energy. Why are you on dreads? Why are you not on bone straight with ones? And I'm like, bone straights are dope. They are beautiful, but this is what I want. And then I also know girls who are on bone straight and flick, and family is still like, why are you dressing like this?
There is nothing you would ever do that
people would not judge.
People would always talk. So just do you. That's it.
Just do you. The criticisms will always come. It's never going to stop. I was telling myself, because I take walks around the house every morning, and I was like, my neighbors look at me like, this woman is crazy, because we have a low fence. Like, why is she and I'll wear my dark shades when the sun is still up. and this bohemian trousers and green shirt. People like, why is she taking a walk around the house? Is this the wall of Jericho she's trying to bring down?
People would think you're crazy.
Why she do it? But I told myself that if I don't continue taking my walks and my because I take walks for my mental health majorly, it's not even about my weight for me. If I start to break down, people will still be like, why is she cranky?
Exactly.
So people will always
People
judge.
always talk.
Yeah, either way. So judgment and criticism might be one of the reasons you don't want to go home. But I just want to let you know that people will talk either way, and it's fine that you're doing
And I feel
you.
there's this thing about Nigerians, right? That they just look at you and they feel they know you.
Yeah.
Nigerians judge based on appearance a lot. They just see you and they feel, oh, this person is like this, and you don't even get to know the person.
It's that okay? She's on long hair. This is a so kind of girl, or she's on jean jacket, or this, and they just use that.
And they just conclude, and they don't even get to know.
No, they don't care. They don't care.
So it's the same with family. Sometimes you might just. There are times whereby my siblings will tell me something about my outfit or why you dress this way, but that's my style. So I don't have to explain it to them. I just keep mute and allow them to say whatever you see. While you're healing, you have to really pay attention to what you're hearing inside, not what people are telling you. Else you won't heal.
You won't. If you keep perusing everyone's word and everyone's opinions about how you should live your life, you won't.
Exactly. For someone like me, I'm an overthinker. You can say A, I'll dissect that A into several branches. I think so deep, but I had to unlearn that as well. That sometimes things are not even that deep. I had to stop taking things personal.
Funny enough, do you know that what you just described is what we call hypervigilance in trauma and healing and psychology? It's hypervigilance. You have you grew up in such a way that you had to take note of everyone's emotions and facial expressions, and you had to read the room for you to operate. So that has made you hypervigilant, and that's why when you go anywhere, you are seeing what other normal people would not see.
Yes.
Now they call it being overly sensitive. I am overly sensitive, and as you said, this year I had to unlearn picking offense. It saddens me that I'll be very honest with you guys. I have lost friendships because of me being an overthinker, as you said. Because somebody does something and I'm like, why does she do this? Is it that she doesn't love me anymore? Oh, she wants to hurt me. And then I run and hide it to my shell. That's not healthy. I had to come to a point where I'm like, Lola, you need to stop overthinking things. If you need clarity, simply ask. Especially with your close friends. You might not be able to ask strangers, that's fine.
Yeah.
But if you and I are friends and I thought you spoke to me in a particular kind of way, the former Lola might quickly run and isolate herself and start to avoid you. Because I'm scared of being hurt. That's what trauma has done to me. I'm scared of being hurt. But I had to unlearn that this year especially. And now with my close girlfriends, because I believe in the power of awesome girlfriends around you. My close girlfriends now, if I don't understand something, if there's a problem, I'm like, oh, how far? That day you look at me and you're like, I don't even really like this, your hair. What did you mean by that? And not from a place of conflict, like, oh, what did you mean by that? But I start to fight. No, like, I love my hair, but you said you didn't like the hair. Why would you say that? Either way, I still love my hair and I love you. Because I know that you're not saying it from a place of jealousy or conflict. It's your opinion, and that's fine. We can be friends and still have conflicting opinions.
I think that's one thing I know I'm still struggling with, having difficult conversations.
Yeah.
Some days my friends tell me something I'm not okay with, but I'll just be like, okay, maybe she didn't mean it this way, and it's okay to find out what she meant.
Sure.
But I don't like difficult conversations. I would rather just, okay, fine, if you're mad at me, it's fine, let the friendship end. I've lost several friends.
Same here. I'll be very honest with you. Same here.
And I know that I'm not a bad person, and they are not bad people as well. It's just that we couldn't just meet, and they might not even know what they did. So I'm still dealing with that.
That's true, because sometimes you just cut people off and we never get to tell them, like, you hurt me. And if you're watching me and we've been friends before, and for some reasons you stumbled on this channel, cutting people off sometimes is not because you don't want to you want to stop being friends with them. It's because you're afraid of being hurt. So I know that lots of you healing girls watching me, if you've noticed that pattern in your life, you might want to sit down with yourself and journal and pray and have difficult conversations with yourself about why you keep cutting people off instead of having that difficult conversation to repair the relationship. That's how you keep
Because
girlfriends.
that's actually a sign of trauma, to be honest.
So the next point is lack of acceptance. I think everything is connected. We've actually spoken about this, how your family is not accepting, or your environment is not accepting of who you've become.
So you just need to work on your confidence. Just look at yourself in the mirror. That's one thing I know that I held on to. People don't know when I struggled. There was a time I was actually really overweight. I lost a lot of weight. Like, I was already tending towards obesity. Like, the doctor told me that. And I had PCOS. Oh, no. It was just a lot. So then I would always dress, look good, take pictures, post them. Even though I'll be looking at the pictures, oh, my tummy looks big in this. I didn't know a lot of people were out there admiring me, and people would meet me. Oh, Damaris, I love your confidence.
I love the way you carry yourself.
You're chubby.
For one, I remember when I went to your Instagram, I'm like, you dress well. You carry yourself with this charisma.
But nobody knows that deep down, I'm like,
you were struggling.
I was struggling. I was like, oh my God, will people think a chubby girl is wearing this outfit? In my head, it was a struggle, but out there, I never allowed people to see it. So confidence was one thing that
helped. So confidence, like, even if people are not accepting of who you are, whether it's your physical looks of saying, okay, I want to dye my hair blue, or it's your inner work of, you know what, this time I'm no longer going to be talkative. I want to talk calmly. I want to not to be all over the place. And people are like, what's wrong with you? This is Nigeria. It's time to party.
Yeah, this is not you.
Yeah, this is not you. Why are you indoors? Let's go. Do you have the confidence to say no? And then we have loneliness in the crowd. Sometimes you're with family, but you're feeling very lonely. It has happened to me. Like, there was nothing less than about 30 family members or even more in a building, and I felt alone. I wanted to just run to the bathroom and go and cry. I didn't want to. It was Christmas in Jos, and I told you guys in the last video how Jos is a very Christmassy town. But I just didn't want to be here. I cried so much. When I sat down, I felt all eyes were on me, and people were talking bad about me because of how weird I was, and that was the formative years of my healing. So I had not become this confident person I am today. I had not become this glorious being that I am today. I had not entered into the truth that I was glorious, and I was created in God's image, and I was wonderfully and beautifully created. I had not come into that truth. So there's just that lack of acceptance that some family give off. Certain family members, and they don't want to go home.
I don't stay with my family till today. I'm the last born, but I don't really have this close relationship with my mom. When everybody is with her in the kitchen, I'm reading a book, because I never felt like I was enough to blend in, because she would always say this, about this person's skills, but about me, she's just always going to say me. I'm always in the room reading, and it pushed me away
from her.
Because I felt like whatever I did was never enough, and my mom is a perfectionist. If she's doing something, she needs it this way, and me, I would want to do it my way.
African mom syndrome, you guys.
Yeah, so it pushed me away that I'll be with my family and I'll still feel alone. I'll still be wishing I was with my friends instead of my family.
And that's another important point that I think you've raised. I call it, or rather, I think it's called, not I call it, it's called your chosen family. Family might not always be blood. I think even the Bible talks about how there are friends that stick closer than brothers. So if you have a chosen family this Christmas, please, by all means, make it a Christmas that you will always remember. Make memories with your chosen family. If you have friends who you would rather hang out with, who will give you peace of mind, see, guys, I think it's okay if you decide that those are people you want to spend Christmas with.
And always remember, family can tamper with your peace of mind.
It can. That's the whole essence of why we're talking about this. That people don't want to go home because just the mere view of their family house is giving them anxiety. Just seeing their dad's cars. You say, just seeing Rukuba Road in Jos. I'm sorry to everybody who lives in Rukuba Road, but just say Rukuba Road in Jos, and I'm like, oh God. The story is long, but there's just so much that that went on, and I just get triggered.
Yeah, and you're not weird.
I just get triggered.
It's really not weird. It's just that there's still unresolved traumas. You have to, and
there are things that you've not addressed.
Exactly, and you can keep healing all your life. There's no duration.
That's the thing. I went for therapy, though I didn't go for therapy because of the trauma I went through as a child. Thankfully, I'm okay. That's no longer a problem in my life, to be honest with you. So I went for therapy because I went through a very difficult pregnancy. I was sick for the whole 9 months of pregnancy, and then I almost died. I almost lost the child too when I gave birth. Meanwhile, that child is almost 3. He's DamDam's best friend. DamDam is one of his favorite people. He has a list of favorite people, which is on that list, And I had to go for therapy to understand why I was feeling like probably God failed me. Why I was feeling the way I was feeling, because I just didn't understand why I went through that. I of course, Christians were telling me, or people who were in my life were telling me, oh, you're a Christian, why were you sick all through pregnancy? You're supposed to be praying. Were you praying? So I had to just go to therapy to unpack everything I just went through. And one thing that my therapist told me was, you might have to heal from a lot of things that happened to you till you die. The only day your healing is going to end is when you take your last breath. And that was something that I had always known, but it's had a different meaning for me. That's a moment when she said that. So don't ever think that you're done healing. With a lot of issues that have happened to you. Some might actually be done. Like for me, the child sexual abuse, honestly speaking, is done. For me, in a way, I don't know how to explain it. I don't visit that memory too often. Even when I open that door, I sit down and I see the young me and everything she goes through, and I'm like, I'm sorry you went through this, but that's not me anymore.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's almost like I'm speaking to the 4-year-old Lola, and I'm like, oh my God.
Because right now you're safe. Your inner child is safe.
Thank you for bringing that up. So you just have to get to that point where you understand that you have to create a safe space for yourself,
you have
for
to
your
be at
inner
peace
child.
with that circumstance that you have.
Yeah. I think we're going to talk about changes in family dynamics. Now, this is for maybe younger girls. You have parents who are constantly fighting. You're in the university, maybe you just went to 100 level, or you're even in SS3, and you're in a boarding school, or you're even in a day school, and you come back home with your book, so you don't really have time to interact with the conflict at home.
Yeah.
But you now have parents who are constantly fighting, and maybe it led to separation or divorce. That can make you feel conflicted during Christmas. You might even find out that you want to even go home. You want to spend Christmas rather with your auntie or cousins or even friends.
Exactly, because
you don't want to deal.
It's no longer a whole family.
You want to
You have to decide if you're going to stay with your mom or your dad, and that's too much confusion as it is.
Yeah.
So you just rather stay away from everything, and
I think it's fine. Honestly speaking, I think it's okay.
I mean, you don't have to go through all of that remembering how the separation went, because separation is not something so easy for people to get past. You might have a very good relationship with your dad, but then your mom's presence makes the family whole.
Yeah.
So you just feel like
everybody has something they bring to the table.
So, and you don't want to choose sides. Like, why am I going with mommy when daddy has been through this? All of this conflict. So you just rather run.
So I think the final point we're going to talk about is the elephant in the room, especially in Nigeria. DamDam, you came back to Nigeria and you've seen the financial situation.
Oh my
One of the reasons why some people don't want to go home this Christmas is because of the financial stress. You're the last born, and you might not, have that. People don't have much financial expectation from you. But there are people who I know. I've had conversations with some healing girls who are members of the For Healing Girl community, and they tell me I can't go home because if I go home, I need nothing less than about 200K.
Because the whole expectation is on them.
You're going to buy rice, you're going to buy chicken, you're going to buy. We all know the situation in town. And there are also healing girls on this channel who are doing well financially for themselves. And kudos to you guys. You've done well for yourself this year. I'm proud of you, and you should be proud of yourself too. But there are also girls who are nowhere financially. They're struggling. And now home is expecting them to come and spend money. You know. And sometimes it's not because your parents are wicked. It's because they too are struggling, and they need you to come home and come and like relieve them of the pressure. So that might make you not want to go home. Somebody told me that I'd rather stay in Abuja. Like if I'm going to go home, if I'm going to go to my hometown, I'm going to need nothing less than about 300 and something K. And I'm like, what? Wow. So she misses her mom. She has a lot she wants to unpack with her mom. Her mom has gone through so much this year, and she is also still going through so much this year, and she needs that physical, touch of a mother that will say, oh, how are you doing, but she can't go home because of the financial stress. So that's okay. Flights is expensive. For those of you who are living outside of Nigeria, I have friends who are outside Nigeria who are like, oh, Christmas in Nigeria is awesome, but they can't start to come all the way from the UK or all the way from wherever they are, because flights are so expensive. So it's okay if one of the reasons why you're staying away from home is because of money. It's totally fine. And then for those of you who, I think we're going to discuss that too on this channel, and definitely that DamDam is going to be back on this channel, because I've had such wonderful conversation with you. Do you know that there are people who have told me that they don't feel worthy when it comes to their family? They don't feel worthy except they are bringing something to the table financially.
It's possible.
They don't feel worthy. They don't feel like their parents love them. And I want to mention a demography in Nigeria, but I won't, because this channel is not. I don't want to be controversial in that sense. But sadly, the girls that have told me this are from a particular demography in Nigeria, where you don't feel worthy to be home, you don't feel worthy of your parents' love, except you package something and be like, Mama, Papa, take, or Mommy, Daddy, Mom, Dad, this is what I bought for you. And if that is one of the reasons why you don't want to go home for Christmas, that's totally fine.
That's okay.
You have to take care of yourself first. I was speaking to one of my mentors, one of my spiritual mentors. She's a pastor, and I love to have conversations about God with her, because my view of Christianity, every time I go on my knees to pray, is about how God is love. That just does things to my brain. Like when I think about how God is love, I'm so excited. So she also has that perspective, and we often talk. And she told me that, see, you have to take care of your own home, of your own self, before you can begin to take care of anybody outside.
Particularly yourself. Like if your house is not in order, how do you want to help others outside? You basically have nothing to give,
nothing to offer. That even kindness, if you've not watered your garden of kindness for yourself, if you've not been kind to yourself, trust me, you can't be kind to anybody.
Exactly. And a lot of times we're so hard on ourselves. I used to be that way. I'll be so hard on myself. I'll be like, why do you have to do things this way? Why do you have to keep losing friends? I realized I wasn't loving myself enough. So when I decided, I was like, I'll tell myself, I'll say words of affirmation. You're strong. You got through this day. Because sometimes it's really hard to even get through
the day. Tell me about it.
And it just felt better. Appreciating myself, self-love. You tell yourself you're doing a good job. You're not where you want to be, but you're not where you used to be. And that's a lot.
You know that even if you are looking for a job all through this year and you didn't get a job and you're still unemployed, if you sit down and peruse the year, you'll discover that you were still not where you were last year. You still have something to be grateful about. So please, the little money you've been able to garner for yourself this year, do something for yourself. It's okay if you can't send the amount that you think you want to send home. If you were able to make 50,000 naira, it's okay to say, I'm going to keep 40,000 naira for myself and I'll send 10,000 naira home.
Yes. Always put
okay.
yourself first, to be
Honestly,
honest. Always put yourself
I know that it's
first.
cliche. This example I'm about to give is cliche, but I think I heard it on one of those podcasts or something that I love to listen to. And they spoke about how in an airplane, they'll always tell you that if in case of a crash, put on your own oxygen mask first before you help even your own child. And I'm a mom and I've air traveled with my son. And I was just thinking about that dynamic and I'm like, wow, when I was in the air with Zane, honestly, it came to my mind like, wow, like if anything happens now, I have to take care of myself first and wear my oxygen mask before I can wear Zane's oxygen mask. So if I'm not there for myself, if you're not there for yourself, you
How
can't be
can
there
you
for
be
other
there
people.
for others? Exactly.
So I think we're going to end this on this note that this Christmas, do you. And I don't mean it in a selfish way. I don't mean this in a selfish way.
And don't feel guilty while doing you.
Yeah.
Honestly, you deserve it.
Yeah.
Think of all the struggles, the sleepless nights, everything you go through alone. I don't think you owe anybody that much if you do not take care of yourself.
If you do not take care of yourself, you will even notice that if you're still in that mental space where you're sad, where you're depressed, where you're going through any of these things that might want you to stay away from your family this Christmas, if you eventually force yourself to interact with people, you're going to have so many triggers.
Yes.
You're going to be cranky. You might even be ashamed of yourself. And shame is one of that emotion that really pricks healing girls.
Yeah.
A lot of what you're feeling stems from shame. You know that there was a time that sometimes when I meet a guy, when I was single and I meet a guy and the guy is talking to me and the guy is telling me how I love you and I want to be with you, I will feel like I'm not worthy of that guy's love. Because I feel like it's written on my forehead that I was abused as a child. I feel like it's written on my forehead that I didn't have some privileges. I didn't have certain things in place as a child. It was not my fault. I was a child. I was a kid. I was supposed to have adults taking care of me. So why am I saying that? I'm saying that to say that you should not feel like you're not worthy of love.
Yeah.
You are worthy of love, and I'm not talking about just romantic love. I'm talking about first self-love. You are worthy of first God's love. God loves you. God loves you so much. Guys, if I sit down and do a video on God's love, you just say, oh, this God should go open a church. Because I can talk about God's love from now till thy kingdom come. So you're worthy of God's love. You're worthy of your own love. You're worthy of the love of the friends and family who see you.
Exactly.
Who have created a safe space for you. There are people who their home might not be the most beautiful place to be, but they are home. I have people like that in my life. When they just say, oh Lola, they open their arms and I hug them. I'm like, this feels like home. So what last words do you have? Yeah.
Well, for me, I'll just say most importantly, take care of yourself. I neglected that a lot of times, that I would want to take care of everybody around me. I'm the kind of person that would cook for my friends when they come over. I would make sure they're so comfortable. And then one day I sat down and I told myself, just same sacrifice you're making for
others.
People, you don't even make it for yourself. Some days I don't even eat. I'll go out. I'll just have coffee. I'll tell myself, oh, it's fine. I'll eat when I have time. But if a friend tells me she's coming over, I'll
the kitchen. Cook. This is profound.
So honestly, take care of yourself first. That's very important. So if you think going home this December is a trigger, then stay away from home.
Totally. That's fine.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong. If you have a chosen family, spend Christmas with them. As I always say, we live in a virtual world now. If you need to call up friends who are living in the UK, in New Zealand, in Dubai, in Canada, in Philippines, anywhere your friends might be, or even in Nigeria, say you are out and they are in, please make that time and just nourish yourself with so much goodness and kindness.
Realize you love
you. Exactly. Realize that you are
if you feel like you don't feel loved, honestly, God loves you.
God loves you.
That's it.
And I promise you that I love you too.
I love you too.
Yeah, and I love you too, DamDam. Thank you so much for coming on the For Healing Girls YouTube channel. We deeply appreciate you. And we're going to definitely give DamDam a gift We don't need to say it on air. But thank you guys for watching. And as I always say, I always have a journaling prompt at the end of every video. And the journaling prompt for this video is, I want you to write about any time, if you're currently going through not wanting to go home for Christmas, write about that. What's triggering you? Why don't you want to go home for Christmas? And if you've ever had a time, you're not going through it now, but you've ever had a time where you were avoiding home during Christmas, I want you to write about that. Like, why did that happen? That self realization in a way. So write about why didn't you want to go home? And if you're not going through any of those things, then write about how you love going home for Christmas, or you love having family, in case you have your own home, like me, who is married. To write about why you love your own home, or even if you're a single girl like DamDam was, and she had her own lovely apartment and she spends Christmas with herself, then write about how you enjoy Christmas with yourself in your own apartment. Whatever spectrum you're on, just write about Christmas and spending time with family and the traditions that you've started for yourself. So thank you guys, and Merry Christmas.
Have a lovely Christmas, guys.
Bye.
Bye.